From the elegant apartments of Stockholm to the sprawling estates of Beverly Hills, few Hollywood legends have lived a life as internationally glamorous as Ingrid Bergman. The three-time Oscar winner, whose unforgettable performances in Casablanca, Notorious and Anastasia captivated audiences, didn't just cross boundaries on screen. She created homes across continents that reflected her cosmopolitan spirit and tumultuous personal journey. Born in Stockholm in 1915, Bergman's natural beauty and unmatched talent quickly made her one of the most sought-after actresses of the Golden Age. But her personal life proved just as dramatic as her on-screen roles. A controversial affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini in the late 1940s led her to being denounced on the floor of the US Senate and a temporary exile from Hollywood, forcing her to establish new homes across Europe before a triumphant return to American cinema. From her modest beginnings in Sweden to her Hollywood mansions, from her Roman apartments during her Rossellini years to a sophisticated Parisian pied-à-terre, each home tells a chapter of her extraordinary story. At the time of her death in 1982, Bergman's estate was valued at approximately $8 million, equivalent to about $24 million today, a testament to her enduring success across multiple film industries. So join us as we take an exclusive tour through the remarkable homes of a woman who wasn't just a citizen of Hollywood, but truly a citizen of the world. Ingrid Bergman's story begins at Strandvägen 7, an elegant address in one of Stockholm's most prestigious neighborhoods. Young Ingrid's early life was marked by loss. Sadly, her mother died when she was just 3 years old, and her father passed away when she was 12, leaving her in the care of relatives. The apartment she lived in with them featured classic Swedish architecture and views of the water, and it represented the comfortable upper-middle-class life that Bergman initially knew. Staying at this home after her mother's passing also helped her cope with the loss. The building, still standing today, features the ornate stonework typical of Stockholm's early 20th century construction, with high ceilings and large windows that would have filled the rooms with natural light. After her father's death, Bergman moved in with her aunt and 5 cousins in a more modest apartment in Stockholm's Östermalm district. This transition marked her first experience with dramatic change, a theme that would recur throughout her life. The apartment was significantly smaller than her childhood home, forcing the young Ingrid to adapt to shared spaces and less privacy. These early Swedish residences laid the foundation for Bergman's remarkable adaptability. Despite her youth, she navigated these changes with the same grace and determination that would later help her transition between Hollywood, Rome, Paris and London. After catching Hollywood's attention in Swedish films, Bergman arrived in America in 1939 to star in the English-language remake of a Swedish film, Intermezzo. Producer David O. Selznick had signed her to a contract, and her Hollywood career quickly flourished. By 1942, following her appearance in Casablanca, Bergman had established herself as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Her first significant American residence was a leased home in Beverly Hills, a modest beginning before her rising star power allowed for more luxurious accommodations. By 1945, at the height of her first Hollywood phase, Bergman purchased a stunning 9,000 square foot Mediterranean-style estate at 1220 Benedict Canyon Drive in Beverly Hills. The mansion featured expansive gardens, a swimming pool, and the indoor-outdoor living spaces that epitomized California luxury. The stone exterior, tiled roof, and wrought iron details represented classic Spanish colonial revival architecture so popular in 1940s Hollywood. Inside, beam ceilings and hardwood floors created an atmosphere of casual elegance. This home witnessed Bergman's rise to the pinnacle of Hollywood success. While living here, she filmed classics like Spellbound, Notorious, and Joan of Arc. The property became the setting for glamorous industry parties and quiet family moments with her first husband, neurosurgeon Petter Lindström, and their daughter Pia. Little did visitors know that behind these elegant walls, Bergman was growing increasingly restless with Hollywood's limitations, a restlessness that would soon lead her to abandon this picture-perfect life. Today, you can rent the home for a whopping $82,500 a month. Now, let's turn our attention to 1949, the year Bergman shocked America by leaving Hollywood and her husband and daughter for a relationship with Italian director Roberto Rossellini. The The scandal was immense, with Bergman even being denounced on the floor of the US Senate as a powerful influence for evil. Exiled from Hollywood and American public favor, Bergman established a new life in Rome. Her first Roman residence with Rossellini was an apartment near the historic Via Veneto, in the heart of the La Dolce Vita Rome that Fellini would later immortalize. The spacious apartment featured high ceilings, marble floors, and classic Italian architectural details. Large windows overlooking the bustling Roman street, connecting Bergman to the vibrant city that now served as both her personal and professional home. As their family grew with the birth of their son Robertino and twin daughters Isabella and Isotta, the couple moved to a larger villa in the exclusive Parioli district of Rome. This elegant home, surrounded by Mediterranean gardens, provided the space needed for their expanding family. The villa's stone exterior, draped with climbing vines, embodied classical Italian residential architecture, while inside, the rooms were decorated with a blend of antique Italian furniture and modern Swedish-influenced pieces that reflected Bergman's heritage. The Roman years represented both personal turmoil and artistic growth for Bergman. While working on films like Stromboli and Europa 51 with Rossellini, she created a home that balanced her European sensibilities with the needs of her young children. Despite the professional highlights that happened during her time in these homes, they also saw the slow dissolution of a relationship with Rossellini, which ended in divorce in 1957. Following her divorce from Rossellini, Bergman entered yet another chapter of her life, moving to Paris in the late 1950s. After a triumphant return to Hollywood with Anastasia, which won her a second Oscar, Bergman established a permanent European base in the intellectual heart of Paris. Her left bank apartment on Rue Bonaparte placed her in the center of Parisian cultural life. The building, dated from the 19th century, featured the classic Haussmannian architecture that defines Paris. Cream-colored stone, wrought iron balconies, and mansard roofs. Bergman's apartment occupied an entire floor, providing approximately 2,500 square feet of elegantly proportioned living space. Inside, Bergman created an interior that blended Swedish minimalism with French sophistication. Herringbone parquet floors, ornate moldings, and marble fireplaces provided the classic Parisian backdrop, while Bergman's furniture choices, including several pieces from her Swedish heritage, added personal warmth. Large windows overlooked a private courtyard, offering a tranquil respite from the bustling city. This apartment became Bergman's primary residence during her marriage to her third husband, theatrical producer Lars Schmidt, in 1958. Here she entertained fellow artists and intellectuals, hosted her now adult children during visits, and planned her continuing work on stage and screen. While maintaining her Paris apartment, Bergman and Schmidt also purchased a country estate in Choiseul, approximately 35 kilometers southwest of Paris. The 17th century manor house, surrounded by several acres of gardens and woodland, provided a peaceful contrast to city living and became increasingly important to Bergman in the 1960s and 70s. The stone manor featured the rustic elegance typical of French country estates, with exposed beams, stone fireplaces, and generous proportions. Bergman renovated extensively, modernizing the kitchen and bathrooms while carefully preserving the home's historic character. The gardens particularly delighted Bergman, who discovered a passion for gardening later in life. She personally designed several areas of the grounds, including a herb garden and rose beds. A swimming pool was added discreetly behind a stone wall, maintaining the property's historic aesthetic while providing modern amenity. At Choiseul, Bergman entertained on a larger scale than a Paris apartment allowed. The spacious dining room could accommodate dinner parties of 20, while the grounds hosted summer gatherings where Bergman could relax among friends away from public scrutiny. Although less often discussed than at other residences, Bergman also maintained a pied-à-terre in London throughout much of the 1960s and 70s. Located in Belgravia, one of London's most exclusive neighbourhoods, this elegant townhouse served as her base during theatrical performances in London's West End and film work in Britain. The Georgian-style townhouse featured approximately 3,800 square feet of living space across 4 floors. Characteristic large windows, high ceilings, and a formal facade concealed surprisingly modern interiors. Bergman, always attuned to evolving design trends, embraced elements of contemporary 1960s design here more than in any of her other homes. Inside, traditional architectural elements like crown moldings and fireplaces were complemented by more modern furniture and bold color choices. The home featured a small garden at the rear, providing a private outdoor space rare in central London. The The primary bedroom suite occupied the entire top floor with a renovated bathroom that included what was then the height of luxury, a sunken tub and separate shower. This London residence saw Bergman during some of her later career triumphs, including a preparation for a role in Murder on the Orient Express, which would win her a third Oscar. In her final years, as her health began to decline, Bergman established a smaller residence in the Chelsea neighbourhood of London. This apartment, more modest than her previous London home, reflected her desire for simplicity and practical comfort in her later life. Located in a modern building with elevator access and security features, the apartment offered approximately 1,500 square feet of living space with views of the Thames. The interior design focused on comfort and functionality, with wider doorways to accommodate the mobility issues that accompanied her later health challenges. Despite its practical considerations, the apartment maintained Bergman's refined aesthetic sensibility. The walls displayed a carefully curated collection of art accumulated throughout her global career, while bookshelves held volumes in the multiple languages she spoke fluently. Photographs of her children and grandchildren took pride of place, reflecting a focus on family in her final years. It was in this Chelsea apartment that Bergman spent her last month before succumbing to breast cancer on her 67th birthday in 1982. These homes of Ingrid Bergman tell a story as compelling as any film she starred in, a narrative of reinvention, courage, and an unwavering commitment to living life on her own terms. From Stockholm to Beverly Hills, from Rome to Paris, each residence reflected not just her evolving taste, but her evolving identity as an artist and woman. What makes Bergman's homes particularly fascinating is how they mirror her boundary-crossing career. Unlike many Hollywood stars who created a single spectacular mansion as their forever home, Bergman established meaningful residences across continents, each one capturing a distinct chapter in her extraordinary journey. Perhaps most remarkable is how Bergman's home reflects her resilience. When scandal forced her from Hollywood, she didn't retreat. She created new homes in new countries, adapting to different cultures while maintaining her essential self. This ability to transform spaces into personal havens, regardless of location, speaks to the inner strength that allowed her to weather professional setbacks and personal challenges. Now, if you enjoyed this glimpse into the private world of one of cinema's greatest talents, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more exclusive tours of classic Hollywood homes. And let us know in the comments which Hollywood's legends homes you'd like us to explore next.